So it wouldn't be enough that application security increases on, the device side, but also policy changes would occur. And with policy changes in Google Play Store, there are some cases where applications might have to change how they're running. And really, these are good features for users. So one example is Stalkerware. Stalkerware is kind of applications that might be spying on users, collecting information about users and their location or their habits. And there's a lot of good articles about this online. I recommend checking out the EFF because they've done a bunch of topics around this uh, concept, and it really is something that can negatively affect users. Uh, with that said, there are some examples of when user tracking is still going to be something you're able to do in an app, specifically in cases where you're an employer and you want to track employees, or you're a parent and you want to make sure you know the location of your child, because there's apps that do that. So those are the cases where you'll still have apps like that exist. But in general, stalkerware is a big no-no, and I think that's great that Google Play did that. Restrictions on gambling apps. In general, in the US, there aren't any gambling apps, but in other countries, specifically UK, Brazil, and there's a couple others, they have legislation that allows them to have gambling apps on the app stores. With that said, there's a lot of restrictions on what they're able to do, how they're able to perform this functionality, and how they get on the App Store. It'll be interesting because maybe in the future, in the States, we'll have this, or other countries might have this. So if you're working in that market and you're trying to determine how to get a mobile app with gambling functionality with real money approved by the App Store, start taking a look at that, because that's probably the same process you're going to have to go through when that happens. And it might be inevitable, it might not be, but it's worth keeping an eye out if you're in that industry. Finally, the last restriction we're seeing come in October is this restriction around misrepresentation. What does that mean? Let's say you're an application and you're telling people you're in the US, but you're really in China. That's misrepresentation. Say you're an app saying that you're this celebrity's app, but you're not. That's misrepresentation. Misrepresenting, or kind of trying to tell users you're one person when you're really not that entity, is misrepresentation. And that's something Google Play is going to start knocking on people's doors about. So be aware of that. That could affect your app in the long run. It might be something that you'll want to be aware of. And I think this is almost more important to people who are doing app vetting, people who are working in that industry, that are really concerned with their users downloading these apps. This is good. These are good functionalities. These are good for Google Play, and they're good for people who do that. Because again, more privacy, more security.